The elevator did not fail quietly. It failed at 7:12 on Monday. 6 floors were trying to leave. The first floor shrugged. The 6th floor went still. The owner reached for a calculator. Someone whispered, "Who pays?" And the hallway became a country. That is the part we miss. Politics is not a speech on television. It is the moment a private problem touches everyone. A broken cup has one owner. A broken elevator has a line of witnesses. One person loses time. One person loses money. One person loses dignity on the stairs. The same machine hurts people differently, so the room hunts for one face. Not a cause. A face. The landlord becomes the monster. The committee becomes the monster. The quiet neighbor becomes suspicious somehow. Blame is fast, because it gives pain a target. And sometimes it points at the real thing. A hidden invoice, a buried complaint, a repair delayed until nobody could ignore it. But blame cannot carry groceries to the 6th floor. It cannot sign a contract. It cannot decide who waits. So the microphone grows. At first, it lets ignored people speak. Then, it starts speaking for them. Then it says, disagreement is betrayal. That is where politics turns into a crown. The dangerous version feels exciting. It promises one enemy, one fix, one clean ending. Real politics is uglier. It asks who gets served first, who pays now, who pays later, who loses today and still gets to return tomorrow. Those questions are boring on purpose. They are breaks. Minutes are breaks. Receipts are breaks. Waiting periods are breaks. Every break feels insulting when you are stuck, until the fast cart is rolling toward you. Here is the small test. If your side loses, can it try again? If your hero leaves, does the rule still work? If the poorest person enters, can they be heard? If nobody is watching, does the machine still behave? If not, it was not politics. It was power wearing a costume. Back in the hallway, nobody gets a perfect ending. The 1st floor still complains. The 6th floor still remembers the stairs. The owner still hates the invoice. But the fight moves on to a table, coins on the table, votes on the table, complaints on the table, a date on the calendar. Then one morning the door opens. No anthem. No hero. Just tired people stepping in. Politics at its best is not purity. It is the rough machine that turns shouting into a decision. And if you do not look at the machine still carries you. But looking at it is not the same as controlling it. The machine has 5 levers. A problem enters at the bottom. Someone decides whether it even counts. That is the first lever. Agenda. Not everything painful becomes public. A noisy pothole gets noticed. A quiet mold patch does not. A staircase without a ramp can wait for years, until one person brings the wrong body to the meeting. Then the private problem gets a chair. The chair looks small. It is not small. A chair means the room has to admit you exist. The second lever is access. Who can reach the table before the vote? The person with time, the person with a car, the person who knows the form exists, the person who can sound calm while angry. Access often wears a polite face. A sign-in sheet. A Tuesday at 2 p.m. A public comment box no one explains. Nothing here looks violent. That is why it works. The third lever is cost. Every decision sends the bill somewhere. Money is only the loudest bill. Time is a bill. Risk is a bill. Humiliation is a bill. A staircase bill lands on knees. A delay bill lands on wages. A paperwork bill lands on the person with the least slack. Good politics does not erase cost. It makes the cost visible before the vote. The fourth lever is enforcement. A rule without enforcement is a polite poster. A promise without a deadline is decoration. A fine without a rich person's fear is wallpaper. This is the part that makes people uncomfortable, because enforcement is power with shoes on. It walks into the hallway. It knocks. It asks for the invoice. It asks what happens if nothing happens. The fifth lever is appeal. Can a loser come back without begging? Can a mistake be corrected without a miracle? Can the quiet person challenge the loud one? Appeal is not mercy. It is a second door. If there is no second door, politics becomes a trap. Now the machine has a shape. Agenda decides what enters. Access decides who reaches it. Cost decides who carries it. Enforcement decides whether it matters. Appeal decides whether losing becomes exile. That sounds dry. It is not dry when you are the one outside the door. Here is where the elevator story gets mean. Everyone says they want fairness. Most people mean fairness at their floor. The first floor wants cheap repairs. The sixth floor wants speed. The owner wants predictability. The tenant with a stroller wants dignity. The worker paid by the hour wants tomorrow's shift. Nobody is lying yet. They are all telling the truth from one floor. Politics begins when truths collide in the same hallway. A bad system pretends one truth is the whole building. A better system makes the collision visible. It slows the room down. It gives every truth a shape. Then it forces a decision anyway, because a process that never decides is just delay wearing glasses. That is the dark side. Procedure can protect people. Procedure can also bury them. A form can be a ladder. A form can be a wall. A hearing can be a voice. A hearing can be a maze. The same brake that saves you can also stop an ambulance. So the test is not, do we have rules? The test is, what do the rules make easy? What do they make impossible? Who can use them while tired? Who can use them while poor? Who can use them while nobody likes them? That last one matters. Rights that only work for popular people are decorations. Rights that work for annoying people are infrastructure. This is why politics feels dirty. It handles dirty material, fear, money, status, old injuries, new emergencies. The machine does not become clean by pretending the material is clean. It becomes safer by showing where the material goes. Put the fear on the table, put the money on the table. Put the power on the table. Then ask who can move it. That question is the whole game. Not who is pure, not who sounds nicest, who can move the cost and who can stop them. When you hear a political argument, look for the moving object. A tax moves coins. A permit moves time. A border moves bodies. A school rule moves futures. A court deadline moves risk. The argument is usually not about the word on the poster. It is about the object underneath. Freedom can mean an open door. Freedom can mean no guard at the broken stair. Safety can mean a repaired elevator. Safety can mean a locked hallway. Equality can mean the same staircase for everyone. Equality can mean a ramp, because legs differ. The words are flags. The objects are the machinery. So here is the final test. When someone offers one clean answer, ask what disappears. Which cost vanishes from the picture? Which person becomes too small to draw? Which door loses its handle? Which lever gets hidden behind the speech? Do that, and politics becomes less magical. Not less serious. Less magical. You start seeing the machine in ordinary places, in a rent notice, in a bus route, in a hospital waiting room, in a school lunch line, in the cracked elevator door. And once you see it, the final choice is smaller than it sounds. You can demand purity and hand the machine to whoever already owns it. Or you can get your hands near the levers, argue over the agenda, open the access door, trace the cost, test the enforcement, protect the appeal. Then the hallway is still noisy. People still point. The invoice still hurts. The sixth floor still remembers the stairs. But the fight has a shape, and shaped fights are the only fights a community can survive. The elevator was never just an elevator. It was a small machine teaching a larger one. Who counts, who pays, who waits, who gets another try. Politics is the rough machine for answering those questions without pretending the hallway is empty. Look at it, because it is already carrying you.